Hey, thanks for reaching out. So you're in luck. There's a lot of information already here on campus. There's a prison education program. So what you can do, your first step, actually, let me back up a little bit. Hi, I'm Dale. Thanks for reaching out. There's three things I'm going to show you. There's the three things that you asked before: how to find scholarly peer-reviewed articles on prison education programs and their impact on recidivism. No problem. There's going to be a lot of data. General support navigating databases. Yep. And how to find strong, credible sources. Yep. And then recommendation for citation sources or tools. Okay, so first thing, there's a lot of stuff out on the open web, just like this one, where you could do, you just Google and put it in quotes so those words stick together, prison education program, and there's going to be lots out there that you could go in and you could read up on what they value. Maybe they'll talk about how they got started and maybe how they got like grant funding, or maybe how they succeed with recidivism. So you could go through these. It's kind of a way of getting your start. So for example, most of them are going to have, like the University of Utah UPEP one, you can go to advocacy and research, and they're going to have talking points for you. So here's people that you could talk to, but down here, recent publication, you can see the project has put these articles up here on purpose to further their cause. So this is a biased presentation, but it's promoting the ideas. Except for this one seems like a tongue-in-cheek article. Okay, so go to things that you already know, but we're not looking for articles yet. We're looking for ideas and concepts. So why does it help with recidivism? Is it the idea of like community building, or maybe it's related to interventions for reintegration back into society? We're just getting those ideas. So we're not doing the research yet. We're just getting ideas. Next one, how to find scholarly peer-reviewed articles and databases. I'll cover both of them. In the academic library, we typically have what's called a catalog, where you can just search for like a word, and it'll look in the 100 million things that we've got. What do I have to sign in for? Oh, Adobe Creative Cloud. Not yet Adobe. But what you can do is you can narrow down to articles. And you can see, looking at it from all sorts of different places. Here's peer-reviewed journals. What do we get? How do we get to the narrowed down stuff? So out of these 101,000, you could go through each of them, but let's go to advanced search. Let's do prison, and then in the next line, let's do education. And then all of a sudden, we're starting to dip into these things. So a scholarly database or the library catalog only work on the words that you put in. So if you misspell a word, so for example, I'm going to educationians. If I misspell something, out on the open web, it's like, did you mean education? But on this one, it might make a suggestion, but it's going to be just like, what are we looking for? So that's a big one. Another one is, do you remember how we put our search in quotes? We do the same thing. Didn't it? Oh, it didn't save it for me. Okay. If you put prison education, I'll do a program, but that might be too narrow. Prison education program, it's going to look for that string of letters in that particular order. And then we're going to get prison education program, where they're talking about all sorts of different higher ed and community interventions and things like that. So it's not too bad. Out of these 214, there's 23 peer-reviewed journals. What does that mean? So sometimes we'll get like community newsletters where somebody's just doing a case study telling you their opinion. Excuse me, but when it comes to a scholarly peer-reviewed article, I don't have one handy, what it means is somebody is taking their research in a very formal way, where they show precedents with the lit review. They show how they gathered data and then their data conclusions and things like that. They present that to a journal where people who are also in probably like criminology, sociology, they'll look at it and they'll double check everything for whether it's correct or not, and then they'll also check to see if that makes an impact. So if it's something that doesn't have an impact, that article might get rejected. So peer-reviewed articles are the best. And they're all evidence-based. Let me show you an example. And I don't know how newsletter articles showed up in here. But let's see, teaching race and politics. Well, let's add recidivism. Yeah, heck, why not? Okay, so there's only 7 peer-reviewed articles. That's okay, we can expand. But let's see. Oh, here we go. Ooh, 1984. That's a smidge out of date. Here's one. Review of higher education. I'm interested in like the prisoner perspective, not like the higher ed perspective, although that might be helpful. Okay, let's look at this one. So for example, here's a first citation tool idea. When you click on this, the record, I've got a cookies problem, so I'm going to open it in a new tab. But when you open that up, whether you're in a database or whether you're in the library catalog, there's usually a citation generator. Ta-da! This one is not correct, but it's got the formatting right. It should be sentence case instead of title case, so a lot more lowercase. I can help you negotiate that if you want to ask questions about that. But there's also like the PDF. There's also the abstract. So when you're going through scholarly articles, all of them have an abstract. And in the social sciences especially, they all follow kind of a similar pattern. So you can read, they're meant to be read really quickly, so you don't have to read the whole 37-page article, right? The initial part will be kind of like establishing the problem. The middle will be presenting how they gathered data. And then at the end, they'll talk about their conclusions. And so this one, it offers guidance and insight to those establishing a program. So this might be a practical article. Let's take a look. Bum, bum, bum. If you don't have that full text access, just make sure you're logged in to CIS or Canvas, anything that does that phone duo authentication. But then a scholarly article, it's going to have a clickbaity title that is all accurate. So there's no, it's kind of like giving you the keywords right here. So prison education, college, prison program. Here's the abstract again. The introduction and the lit review are the first few pages. So you can read that and figure out where we are now. But I'm going to scroll down the article and I'm going to look for a table. Oh no, we don't have a table. So somewhere in here, I want to find data about what worked. So this one doesn't necessarily have one. Let's look at a different place. So I would just keep on going through articles until I found like the data that I was looking for the infographic. Let's go to a database instead and try these same search results. Or same keywords rather. Okay, from the Marriott Library, you can go to databases. And the databases are silos of subjects. So sometimes it's as big a subject as medicine, sometimes it's as narrow as criminology. And you can find those over here, but you can always ask me, and I have a guide as well of my favorite databases, which I will send you at the end of this video, and I'll show you. But we can just go down to criminology. But there's a couple more that I want to show you. So in this list, this is the criminology librarian has recommended these. This is kind of a general one, like the library catalog, but these are specific, these two. So both of them have overlap, so let's click on this one. I'm going to go to advanced search, and I'm going to do, not prison education. Oh, look at that, education in prison. Ooh, so I might have to do a synonym or education in prison. So if I have a related term, and I might do education programs, or maybe just program. So if I don't know the exact way that it's being called, for example, in an article, I can put all the different iterations or synonyms in related terms. I could even do UPEP in case we show up, Utah Prison Education Program. I don't know if we show up, let's find out. So those are separated by OR. What that means is it's going to go into this database, find all the articles on this, throw them in a pile, and then it's going to add all the articles with this in it to the pile and all this to the articles in a pile. And it's going to deduplicate them too. So it's not, you're not going to get like 4 of the same article because there's going to be duplications. That was a problem 20 years ago where you got like a big pile of the same articles. And then let's do recidivism. And is there another word for recidivism? Looks like that's a good one. These are just suggestions. Okay, and then we can click on peer reviewed so we get that high level of scrutiny and editing. There's some in Spanish. Oh, sorry, that one's Portuguese. It's not just stuff in the United States, but there's a lot of journals from all over the place. Oh, and here you can see a date precedence. So if we want to come up in time, let's come up to our current century. And then let's go most recent first. I was thinking about it. Post-carceral re-entry. Ooh, that one looks pretty good. Caught in the cycle. How multiple experiences. No, I want education. Health education. Let's modify the search. I don't want it to be anywhere. I want it to be like in the abstract or the title. So let's put recidivism. So I'm just going to search for prison education in the abstract, and I'm just going to search for recidivism. It has to be in the title. That way I can narrow down even further. Ooh, there's only 2. I might have gone too far. Whoa, cool. Transcendental meditation. Survey analysis of a 15-year. Oh, here we go. When is this? Okay, 2017. Rapid evidence assessment of the effectiveness of prison education in reducing recidivism. Well, that looks pretty good. Let's go into that one. Here's our citation generator. Again, they needed to do sentence case for APA, but that's neither here nor there. I'll show you a way around that too. Actually, I'll show that way right now. Every article has a document object identifier, well, at least the new ones. And you can go to AI sometimes. Let's try AI. Gemini. Cite this in APA style. Let's see if AI can give us a citation. Sometimes it can. Come on, AI. Hey, check it out. Ooh, it did sentence case too. Isn't that cool? There's a bunch of other tools that will do this too. You can look at like citation generator. There's like Citation Machine, there's Zotero, there's ZBib. If you're interested in any of them in particular, let me know, because we do have more expanded tools that are like citation managers where you can manage all of that stuff. Okay, so let's go to this one. Something to be aware of in these databases, if you see this find it, view it, that means it might not have the full text down here. So you got to click on that, find it, view it. And it'll look it up in all of our databases at the same time. And it goes back to the library catalog, and it'll give you a list of journals that it's in. If you run stuck, you can always request it from Interlibrary Loan, which ask me if you run into that. But I'll click on Sage. Am I a human? Hey, oh, yay, oh. The test for being a human's easy. You just click a box. Okay, so let's look for data, and I'll send you this article, so you don't have to look up more. But on this one, same format. We've got the clickbaity title that tells us everything. Got the abstract. There's an outcome, the 24% increase of likelihood of gaining employment if they engage in prison education. But let's go down, and we're going to look for a table, because they have all of this data that they crunched, and they should have tables. Ooh, there's a level. Reconviction rates generated by the offender group reconviction scale. So that you could turn. Oh yeah, here's an infographic. Oh, that's a systematic review. They're analyzing authors. I want to see. Oh, okay. So we would just look for data like that. It can't. So I won't send you that one because it doesn't have data. So what you would do is you just have to noodle around and look for these things until you find somebody who presents data of like this population had this program and they had this percentage. This population had this percentage, and then you can have a really sweet infographic. Let me show you another one that's not in criminology. It's a public policy database. This one does not have a subject heading over here, but it's the PAIS. It's under the letter P, and it's the first database. This one, my keywords are still in there. I'll send you these keywords. But if we go to advanced search, oh, it didn't have it. In this one, this is where they have data, but it's organized by who funded it and why they funded it. So this is like government policy, and it's reports. So let's look on this one. I'll just do abstract for both of these. So instead of criminology, there's some overlap with this one, but this is like government entities being reported to or people making proposals. It might be whole countries, it might be counties, it might be France. Limits of prison. Oh. Education is a practice of freedom. Prison education in the pandemic. This comes out of England, but this is where you'd find things like that. That's cool. The value and importance. So what you would have to do is lower your heart rate and then go through as many articles as the title looks good to you and look for data that you think you could translate. But also they all have commentary and information in the article, even often in the abstract, where you can dig into to get your presentation ready. But for the infographic, it might be a little tighter finding those things. Okay, last thing I wanted to show you. If you go to Research Guides over here and type in criminology, I have a guide for you right here. So here's the two databases that we looked at. Here's PAIS, but there's some other ones as well that you can go into. And here's some keyword strategies. If you forget that, I'll send you the keywords that we've got. But let me know how it goes. This is kind of tricky. I've had some students write back to me and say that it was painful. So if you get stuck with that, let me know.